Have you ever wondered why your legs feel weaker, even though you haven't injured them? Some mornings, just getting up and walking around feels like a chore. A lot of people assume that's just part of getting older. But the truth is, there are hidden factors quietly chipping away at our muscle strength. And they're not just caused by age, they're often the result of daily habits we don't even think about. In today's video, we're going to explore 3 common mistakes many older adults unknowingly make. These may seem minor at first, but over time, they can speed up muscle loss and gradually weaken our legs without us realizing it. The good news is, once we recognize these habits, we can take simple steps to change course. That means protecting our leg strength, staying healthy, and staying independent for longer. If you or someone you care about finds this information helpful, go ahead and tap like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. That small gesture helps us keep delivering clear, reliable, and practical health advice for older adults. Now, let's dive in. The first mistake that may seem harmless but can have a serious impact on our muscles is sleep. 1. Getting too little or too much sleep. We've all heard how important sleep is, but what most people don't realize is how directly it affects our muscles. And as we get older, our bodies become even more sensitive to the quality of our rest. Unfortunately, many of us fall into a trap if we sleep too little one night. We try to make up for it the next. Or we assume that sleeping more is always better. So one night we get just 4 hours. The next night we sleep for 10. But that kind of inconsistency is actually one of the reasons muscle loss happens more quickly than we expect. During sleep, something important happens beneath the surface. This is when our muscles and bones go through their repair process. During deep sleep, our bodies release growth hormones that help rebuild tiny muscle tears, keeping our muscles strong and flexible. If our sleep is constantly interrupted or we don't sleep deeply enough, that repair process gets cut short. Over time, that leads to muscle breakdown. On the flip side, sleeping too much, for example, staying in bed for 10 to 12 hours every night also comes with problems. It puts our bodies into a low-activity state, slows down our metabolism, and reduces the rate at which we make new proteins. Our muscles need regular movement to stay strong. If we're lying down too long and not staying active, our muscles can shrink almost like a rubber band that gets stiff from sitting unused. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Health in 2022 found that older adults who slept less than 5 hours or more than 9 hours per night were at higher risk of muscle loss and weaker leg strength compared to those who consistently slept 7 to 8 hours. In other words, sleeping too little or too much can both take a toll on our bodies. We can think of it like watering a plant. If we give it the right amount of water every day, it thrives. But if we forget to water it one day and then flood it the next, the plant might lose its leaves, rot at the roots, and slowly wither. Our bodies are the same. They need consistent, moderate care to stay healthy. To support our muscles in the long run, what we truly need is a consistent sleep routine. Going to bed and waking up around the same time each day, so our bodies know when it's time to heal and recharge. It all starts with creating a steady sleep routine. Aim to go to bed at the same time each night. Keep your bedroom quiet and cool, and avoid bright screens from phones or TVs before bed. For most older adults, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night is just right to give our muscles time to recover and recharge for the next day. And on those occasional nights when sleep is hard to come by, we don't need to force it. Instead of tossing and turning, try getting up calmly, sipping on a warm glass of milk, listening to soft music, and going back to bed when the sleepiness returns. That gentle reset helps the body relax without disrupting our natural rhythm. The key is having a steady rhythm, because when our sleep swings from too little one night to too much the next, or we stay up late scrolling through our phones, it throws off our internal clock and leaves our body unsure of when to rest and recover. But when our sleep becomes steady and predictable, We don't just feel more mentally alert, our muscles grow stronger, too. 2. Not getting enough protein in the morning? We often hear about taking calcium, drinking milk in the morning, or having a small snack to avoid hunger. But there's one crucial piece that often gets overlooked at breakfast, and that's protein. For older adults, skipping protein in the morning is like asking our muscles to start the day on an empty tank. Over time, that small gap adds up and quietly chips away at our strength. And this is something many of us don't even realize. After a full night's sleep, our bodies have already used up most of their stored energy, especially amino acids, which are the building blocks needed to maintain and repair muscle. So if we start the day with just a piece of white toast, a couple of cookies, or a cup of coffee, we're not giving our muscles what they need to rebuild. And slowly but surely, our muscles begin to shrink. According to a 2021 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, seniors who tend to skip protein in the morning and load up at dinner were found to have lower muscle mass than those who spread their protein intake more evenly throughout the day. In other words, if we ignore protein at breakfast, our muscles miss a key window to recover and grow, even if we try to make up for it later. On top of that, when we don't get enough protein early in the day, our blood sugar tends to swing more wildly, which often leaves us feeling drained, drowsy, or even dizzy by mid-morning. When we're low on energy and amino acids, the brain also has a harder time coordinating muscle movement, which can make our limbs feel clumsy or sluggish. Think of the body like a construction site. Protein is the building material. If the supply truck doesn't show up in the morning, the workers have nothing to do for hours, and even if the materials arrive late in the day, the project still falls behind. That's exactly what happens to our muscles when breakfast lacks protein. The whole repair process gets delayed. So what should we eat to keep our muscles from running empty instead of just cereal or pastries? We can bring in some easy-to-digest protein sources like boiled eggs, plain Greek yogurt, steamed tofu, walnuts, or a spoonful of nut butter. A simple breakfast for seniors might look like a slice of whole grain toast with an egg, a few slices of avocado, and a glass of unsweetened milk. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to have enough protein to fuel the body. It's also important to know that as we get older, our ability to absorb protein declines. That's why seniors should aim to divide their protein intake into smaller portions across the day, rather than saving it all for dinner. And breakfast is the perfect place to begin that routine. Starting the day with a protein-rich breakfast does more than protect our muscles. It also helps us stay alert, improves mood, and supports better weight control. It's a small habit that can lead to big changes in our long-term muscle health. 3. Skipping light daily movement. There's something that might sound simple, but it matters more than we think. Muscles get weaker when we don't use them. And it doesn't take months for that to happen. Even a few days of little to no movement can start triggering changes in the body. As we age, our natural ability to build and maintain muscle slows down. So if we spend our days mostly sitting, watching TV, lying down, or barely moving around, our body starts to believe those muscles just aren't needed anymore. When we stay inactive, the body begins a process called disuse atrophy. That's when muscle fibers start shrinking, protein levels in the muscle go down, and overall strength takes a noticeable hit. This is especially true for the muscles in the legs and hips, the ones that keep us balanced and help us move. That's why many older adults find their legs feel weaker or more unsteady after a few days of bed rest from something like a cold or back pain. In a 2022 review published in the Journals of Gerontology, researchers found that reducing daily movement for just 10 days, for example, dropping from 10,000 steps to only 1,500 already led to significant loss of muscle mass and strength in older adults, particularly in the lower body. And here's the real concern: once that muscle is lost, it becomes much harder to regain, especially after 60. This might also explain why some people still feel physically weak, even though they're eating well and getting enough sleep. The problem isn't that they're doing anything wrong. It's that they're not doing quite enough. We can't maintain muscle by simply sitting still and hoping for the best. Now, that doesn't mean we need to hit the gym or start training for a marathon. For older adults, light, steady movement each day is what truly builds long-term strength. A 15 to 30-minute slow walk in the morning, gentle stretches, lifting the legs while seated, gardening, cleaning the house, or slowly standing up and sitting down, all of these count as meaningful movement for the muscles. Think of the body like a machine. If we don't turn it on every day, the gears start to stiffen. Muscles are the same way when they're not activated regularly. They grow sluggish, then weaker, and eventually stop responding the way we want. And when the time comes to stand up, walk, or catch ourselves from falling, that weakness becomes all too real. What matters most is keeping it consistent. We don't need to push ourselves too hard, but we do need to move every day. If we're feeling tired one day, just walk a few laps around the house. If it's cold outside, try a few light exercises indoors, even right in the living room. Set small, doable goals, but don't allow the movement to stop altogether. Moving daily doesn't just help protect our muscles. It also boosts circulation, eases joint pain, improves flexibility, and lifts our mood. In fact, many seniors say that even 15 minutes of gentle morning exercise leaves them feeling more energized for the rest of the day. If you found today's video helpful, we'd truly appreciate it if you hit the like button, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming topics. And if you'd like us to dive deeper into muscle strength, joint health, or staying active after 60, leave us a comment. We read and value every single one. We'll see you in the next video. Wishing you a strong, healthy, and energized day ahead.